Thank you for attending the swearing-in ceremony of Congressman Ted Lieu. Please welcome the Nicholson Pipes and Drums. Everyone, please stand up and let's welcome the City of Torrance Firefighters Honor Guard, who will present the colors. We'd now like to invite to the stage a 20-year veteran of the Los Angeles Police Department, Officer Rosalind Curry, who will be singing our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rattling, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please all continue to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by the 2015 California Teacher of the Year and National Teacher of the Year nominee, Maggie Mayberry from Manhattan Beach Middle School.
Please place your hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Detail, order, arm. Detail, prepare to close colors. Forward, march. Left, 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 right. Left. Detail, halt. Prepare to close colors. Post. Ready? Cut. Detail. Present. Arm. Order. Arm. Forward. March. Left. 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 Right. Detail. Halt. Left. Face.
Band, by the right, quick, march.
And now, for our mistress of ceremonies. She's the former mayor and now current council member for the city of Manhattan Beach. Previously, she served on the Manhattan Beach School Board. An Ohio native who has called Manhattan Beach her home for 17 years, please welcome Manhattan Beach Council member Amy Howarth.
Wow, it's hard to follow the Nicholson pipes and drums. And what a gift Officer Curry has with that voice. Thank you for sharing that. That was amazing. And I know the Torrance Fire Department Color Guard was really honored to be here as they consider Ted still their hometown hero. So that was great. And of course, Maggie Mayberry, California Teacher of the Year, who happened to be my son's 8th grade teacher. So I'm just saying. So thank you for being here today for Congressman Ted Lieu's district swearing in. It's a really grand occasion, and I'm very honored to be a part of it. I don't know if y'all know, but it's been 40 years since our district has had a new congressman, right? So it's kind of a big deal, and not just for Congressman Lieu, but for all of us. We are definitely here to celebrate and support him, but I think we're all a little curious about him as well. I've been introducing Ted for over 10 years. I hosted one of his first fundraisers in my home, and if I'm gonna be honest, it didn't go so well. Yeah, 6 people showed up. And Ted, he was just starting out, so frankly, he was a little stiff, okay? We raised $200. Yeah. Uh-huh. Luckily, a lot has changed for both of us. Thank God. So fast forward, and now, when he speaks, he shares the American dream, his version, with passion and authenticity, and it's moving. He stirs us. I've been really proud to watch the evolution of Ted Lieu. He's come a long way. In fact, I'd say Congress suits him very well. He's terrific on Facebook, fast and loose, hashtag this, hashtag that. He now hugs instead of shaking hands, right? You know what I'm talking about. It still throws me every time. Hug, I don't know. But as I said, he's come a long way, and thankfully more than 6 people showed up here today. That's because Ted is a man who works incredibly long hours. He's ethical, he has integrity, and he's truly thoughtful about the problems facing our nation. He's courageous and stands up when he needs to, and I think most importantly, remains intensely and publicly devoted to his wonderful family, children Brennan and Austin, and his amazing and talented wife, Commissioner Betty Jim Lieu. So I look out at this fine, fine crowd, and I see a lot of friendly, familiar faces, old friends and new friends. There are many electeds, and I will take time to introduce you all, don't worry. I see our amazing local activists, and I think this district has some of the finest. I see folks who just care about their country, and we're all really grateful that Ted is going to Washington to do the hard work on all of our behalf. So, Congressman, I want to tell you that when you come to this stage later today, I hope you take a moment to stand here and look out and feel the gratitude and love that's coming your way. Because the moment may be fleeting, it's still politics after all. At this time, we're honored to welcome Rabbi Meyer May, Executive Director of the Simon Wiesenthal Center. He's the perfect choice to start us off today, as he has said that the challenge in life is to go through life taking less and giving more. And our Congressman surely lives that principle. Ladies and gentlemen, Rabbi Meyer May.
Eternal God, bless the United States of America and the brave men and women of our armed forces who have left their loved ones in defense of freedom. Bless the United States of America and all the women and men of her great government who lead our nation with courage and distinction. Grant them the wisdom to enact laws and initiate policies that teach us that the freedoms we cherish are not ours in perpetuity, but must be earned and reclaimed each and every day. Remind us on this special day to cherish life's unforgettable journeys, moments in time where lessons are taught by example, and the spirit of truth ignites nobility. O Heavenly Father, as we struggle to keep peace with an ever-changing and an increasingly dangerous world, we ask for thy blessings. May our new Congressman Ted Lieu be endowed with the eternal teachings to give credence to curiosity, to show preference for potentiality, to have reverence for responsibility, to champion respect and value our differences. May Ted be one that knows that wealth is not measured by the weights of vaults, but by the height of ideals. Not by the excesses we seek, but by the beauty we leave untouched for others to enjoy. May this wonderful man leave his mark as a friend of truth, whose foe is deceit, whose instinct is compassion, whose inspiration is faith. May our beloved America be a place where lives torn asunder by tyrants can be rebuilt, a place where dreams are worth dreaming, a place where sacrifices are worth enduring, and where our tomorrows can be even better than today's. Let us say, amen.
Thank you, Rabbi May. That was really inspiring. It's now my pleasure to introduce the Chancellor of UCLA. As UCLA's Chief Executive Officer since 2007, Chancellor Jean Block oversees all aspects of the campus' three-part mission of education, research, and service. A champion of public universities, Chancellor Block serves on several leading national associations and advisory boards, including chair of the Council of Presidents of the University's Research Association an international consortium of 86 leading universities. As a leader, scientific researcher, and even an inventor, please let's give a warm welcome to our UCLA Chancellor, Gene Block. He's here.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everybody. It's my distinct honor to welcome you to UCLA, and especially to historic Royce Hall for this very special ceremony, the swearing in of our newly elected member of Congress. It's a special privilege for me to recognize Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti, along with several elected officials on the program, Representatives Maxine Waters, Karen Bass, and Javier Becerra, and Tim Robbins, of course. So we're delighted all of you could be here. Thank you. In our representative democracy, it's a time-honored tradition and an important exercise in self-governance for there to be a public swearing-in, like this one, a ceremony that allows members of the general public to participate directly in the installation of their elected representatives. So I'm delighted to welcome all of you here this afternoon, but I also want to applaud each of you and congratulate you for being here. This ceremony reminds us that our democracy, government of, by, and for the people, is not a spectator sport, that citizen engagement in our democratic institutions is vital. And on this occasion, it is perhaps worthwhile and sobering to remember the observation made by Winston Churchill, only partially tongue-in-cheek, that democracy is the worst form of government except for all the other forms that have been tried from time to time. We should acknowledge today that we are blessed to live in a representative democracy, but we should also remind ourselves that we all have an essential role to play in ensuring the health and vitality of our democracy. As a public institution, UCLA takes our three-part mission very seriously: education, research, and service. And we regard civic engagement, including hosting publicly significant events like this one, to be an integral part of the public service mission. We've also had the pleasure to work with State Senator Ted Lieu on numerous occasions over the years regarding issues of mutual interest and concern. And we certainly look forward to engaging with him in his new capacity as Member of Congress representing California's 33rd Congressional District. Now, we all know that Congressman Lieu has some very big shoes to fill. So even as we celebrate Ted Lieu's swearing in, it's appropriate to pay tribute to our former long-serving and effective Member of Congress and proud Bruin, Henry Waxman. So to wrap up my comments, we're looking forward to working with Congressman Ted Lieu in the months and years ahead. And we welcome you all once again to UCLA. We're deeply honored to host this important ceremony. I thank you all for being here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chancellor Block, and thank you for your commitment to excellence in public education and for hosting us here in beautiful Royce Hall. Let's give another round of applause to UCLA and Chancellor Block. Okay, our next speaker is a graduate of the UCLA Theater Arts Department. He also happens to be a multifaceted actor, writer, director, and producer whose films include Dead Man Walking, Shawshank Redemption, and of course Mystic River, for which he won an Academy Award. Tim Robbins is truly a maverick. We all admire him for his deliberate choices in projects which reflect his commitment to social justice. For 33 years, he has been a consistent and influential voice in the theater as the founding artistic director of the Actors Gang, an internationally acclaimed Los Angeles theater company. The Actors Gang is known for its relevant and entertaining plays, its free arts education in public schools, and the groundbreaking prison project. Tim, can I call you Tim? You can call me Amy, continues to use his fame and talent, his extraordinary talent, to create positive change. Please welcome Tim Robbins.
That's pretty cool. That goes up, like, down. I'm delighted to have been asked by my friend Ted Lieu to make some brief welcoming remarks on the occasion of his district swearing in. So, welcome to UCLA, a fitting place to hold such an event. UCLA, a cradle of progressive thought and forward thinking in Southern California, the nurturing ground of Jackie Robinson, of anti-war national championship basketball teams, of Jim Morrison, Carlos Castaneda, and Tom Bradley. My parents, Gil and Mary Robbins, met not far from here, down the stairs in the field, at a practice for the marching band. Mom played flute, and Dad stood in front of the band with the funny hat and the baton. I had the pleasure and honor of graduating here in 1982. And when I was attending school here, I believed that anything was possible, that the world held such hope and promise. I still feel that. I still believe that the truth will prevail and that forward-thinking, progressive individuals can and do change the world on a daily basis. Unfortunately, there are obstacles in the way of progress. People that pay off scientists to say that climate change doesn't exist. People that pay off representatives to rig a financial system in their favor. Representatives that try to marginalize and demonize others because of sexual preference. It is because of these obstacles to progress that we stand here today in full support of Congressman Ted Lieu. I first met Ted in 2013 when he was on the California Legislative Joint Committee on the Arts. As artistic director of the Actors Gang, a nonprofit theater company founded here at UCLA 33 years ago, I oversee a vigorous outreach program that operates in 12 LAUSD schools and 4 California prisons. I had the pleasure of addressing the committee that Ted was on. During the hearing, I testified about the Actors Gang experience with our prison project and how our program has helped inmates express and manage their emotions and gain new insights that help them change destructive behavior. I told the committee that I had witnessed profound transformation amongst the inmates we have worked with. I spoke of the need for arts programs in prison as a public safety issue, that our program and others significantly reduce recidivism rates. California used to have one of the most extensive arts and corrections programs in the country, but due to budget cuts, all arts and corrections were terminated in 2003. Ted saw the importance of this work in prisons and became a good friend and supporter of our cause. Last year, with Ted's help, a significant amount of money was added to the state budget, and largely due to Ted's advocacy, the California Department of Corrections restarted the Arts and Corrections program. Working with the California Arts Council last year, Ted introduced legislation to increase the arts budget. As a result, Californians will benefit from a 500% increase in funding to the arts, from $1 million to $6 million. So, who is this politician that advocates for prison reform and arts funding? Who is this anomaly? Doesn't he know that prisoners don't vote? Doesn't he know that prisoners don't have any money to contribute to his campaign? Has he never heard the words, starving artist? Doesn't he understand that in politics you have to pass legislation for your rich constituents? I believe there are 3 qualities that Ted Lieu possesses that will distinguish him to rise above other representatives to become a great member of Congress. Number 1, integrity. Ted's integrity is unsurpassed. Among his colleagues in the state legislature, he was considered to be one of the most honorable and honest legislators. Governing Magazine agreed. In fact, 2 years in a row, Ted was named one of the top 12 legislators to watch in the nation. Not just California, the nation. Second, courage. It's difficult to select just one of Ted's courageous acts. As a result of Ted taking on Wall Street during the foreclosure crisis, he was stripped of his chairmanship on the Assembly Banking and Finance Committee. Ted wrote the first in the nation bill to ban gay conversion therapy for minors. Since then, more than a dozen states have replicated this very same bill. And finally, vision. Ted calls climate change the greatest threat to humanity. I agree. He has pledged to take on the climate change deniers and champion this issue in Congress. This is why Ted Lieu is a man of vision. As his proud constituent, I am counting on Ted to carry this cause. The planet is in better hands because Ted Lieu is in Congress, and we're all better off too. Ted, I'm thrilled to be here today, and in lieu of a day at home in the rain, I look forward to spending the afternoon celebrating the beginning of your journey in Washington, D.C.
Okay, actually it is a bit high. I'm not that tall. Yeah, here we go. I could have just done it, I guess. UCLA is awesome. Okay, thank you. And thank you, Tim, for those wonderful words, especially about having hope and being positive, because we do have leaders like Ted. It was actually quite inspiring for me. And now, before we go much further, I want to introduce some of the dignitaries and elected officials who are here today. So I'm going to get to only some of you now and some of you later. But do not read anything into that order. Right? I know. And we're very honored to have so many of you here. It's a little bit like the Southern California political prom. And I bet if there were such a thing, Ted would be nominated or voted prom king, right? Just like he was voted president of his freshman congressional class, right? Which is very impressive. Okay, so here's what we're going to do right now. United States Congressman Mark Takano, United States Congresswoman Janice Hahn, wave. Hello, Janice. California State Senators Isidore Hall and Ben Allen. Where are you, gentlemen? There's Ben. California State Assembly Member Matt Davenay and Sebastian Ridley Thomas. Okay. From the city of Los Angeles, we have Los Angeles City Council Member Joe Buscaino. Joe, I know you're here. There you are. He's right in the front. Paul Koretz. Mike Bonin. Los Angeles City Controller Ron Galperin. Former Mayor of Los Angeles, Richard Reardon. And former City Councilman, Bill Rosendahl. Yay! I'm still waiting for my eggs, Bill. From other cities, we have the Mayor of Santa Monica, Kevin McCown. The Mayor of El Segundo, Suzanne Fuentes. The Mayor of Lawndale, Robert Pullen-Miles. Where are you? The Mayor of San Marino, Eugene Sun. Torrance City Council Member Tim Goodrich. Beverly Hills Vice Mayor Julian Gold. El Segundo Council Member Dave Atkinson. Hermosa Beach Council Member Nanette Barragan. Malibu Mayor Pro Tem Laura Rosenthal. Malibu Councilmember Lou Lamonte. My colleague, Manhattan Beach City Councilmember David Lesser. Rancho Palos Verdes Mayor Pro Tem Susan Brooks. Rolling Hills Estates Councilmember Steven Zuckerman. Santa Monica Mayor Pro Tem Tony Vasquez. Santa Monica Councilmember Pam O'Connor. Torrance City Councilmember Heidi Ashcroft. Walnut Councilmember Mary Sue. And Alhambra City Councilmember Stephen Shem. Thank you all for being here. Okay, so we've heard from the Chancellor of one of the world's most prestigious universities, not Stanford, and an Academy Award-winning actor. Who could possibly hold his own with these guys? How about our very own superstar mayor, Eric Garcetti? Mayor Garcetti. Yeah, you can read it on. You know all this about you. All right. All right. Okay, that's fine. Let's hear it.
That's
okay,
a great
that's
intro.
good,
That's
good.
fine. Yeah, that's just my name. We got things to get through. Thank you. What a beautiful, beautiful day. A little bit rainy, but ever since I've filmed The Shawshank Redemption, I've loved rain. Oh, wait a second. That's not mine. Oh, here we go. Good afternoon, everybody. It is such a joy to be with you, Ted and Betty, to celebrate this day, and I hope that you drink it in. I hope you look around you. You see family and friends and supporters. You see the folks that have made your life what it is today. You'll never have a day like this again. Each one of these days is holy, they're special. For you and for your boys, I hope that you realize this pivot point in your life is also a moment in which we are with you to support you and sustain you, to travel back and forth, as other members of Congress can say, which is so tough back and forth. We love you, we love your family, we love who you are as people, and we are here today for you. We are... As was pointed out by Chancellor Block, we're here also to celebrate the work of your predecessor, and they keep saying that you have these big shoes to fill. But I've met Henry Waxman, and his shoes are not that big. But he was a very powerful, influential, and amazing American who came from this campus, one of the most prolific and successful lawmakers of our modern times. But I know that Ted Lieu will be 40 years from now. In the same way, somebody will say he did things that changed this town, that changed this country, and that changed this world. I first met Ted years ago from a mutual friend, David Roth, who said, you guys got to meet each other. Neither of you are elected officials, but I have a feeling you both are going to run for something one day. And I know who he is. I know that he is a loyal person. In fact, he's so loyal that he's a diehard fan of the worst team in the history of professional sports, the Cleveland Browns. And in recent years, the only thing more hopeless than the Cleveland Browns has been the United States Congress in achieving wins. So, present members excluded, we need somebody who has that undying optimism that the Browns can win, because that's what it's going to take to turn around that football team and to turn around the United States right now. But I know that you have the relentless optimism, the incredible intelligence, and most of all, the empathy to get things done. And you've got a secret weapon, and that's Betty. You know the expression that behind every successful man is a woman rolling her eyes? It totally fits here. And Betty, Amy promises more girls' nights out with you, so you guys can, complain about your husbands. But also, we know that together, you are both an incredibly dynamic team. And I want to thank you both for your service. For Brennan and Austin, too, who didn't ask for this, but I know are excited about it. I hope that you have that same sense of excitement that I know your mom and dad do, too. Lastly, the things that Ted will accomplish, I know because we've seen them. He has been somebody who has already done things to protect this earth. He already has done things to ensure our equal rights. He was one of the principal co-authors to make sure we have a strong economy, for instance, with the film tax credit legislation that we passed successfully this past year. And most of all, I know that he will serve because he served as a local elected, as a state elected, and now as a national elected official, but he's also a veteran, and I want to single him out for his service to his country. Because I know what it's like to, on top of everything else, put on your uniform and go out there and to serve doubly, and you have done it. This is a lieutenant colonel from Los Angeles who will be serving all of us. That is an extraordinary thing, and that you have stuck with it for so many years means that when we want a strong America, there's nobody more powerful than a member of Congress who knows what national defense is about, but who will stick up for our civil liberties at the same time. And thank you for that, Ted. So lastly, people have been looking for the link between UCLA and Stanford, Ted's alma mater. Well, in 1969, the very first message was sent. The internet was actually invented here, and it was sent from UCLA to Stanford with a simple message. So today, where the internet began, I'm going to ask you all to do something if we can break out our own connection to the internet and use social media to reach out. I've been asked by the Lieu team to tweet, I'm with @RepTedLieu, don't forget the E, @RepTedLieu because, and say why. I'm right now sending out on my Twitter, I'm with Rep. Ted Lieu because together we can end veterans' homelessness in Los Angeles. And he's already been a big part of it. So whatever it is, whether it's the arts, whether it's equal rights, whether it's the environment, whether it's strong jobs, let people know how big this room is. Because if you put all the followers of everybody in this room together, we're talking about contacting probably 1 million people from one room today. So join me and do that. Ted, Betty, we love you. Congratulations, class president. I know one election wasn't enough, so you had to run for something, but that's a big deal that he's the class president of the incoming class of House of Representatives. And I know on behalf of myself and Councilmember Buscaino, Councilmember Bonin, Councilmember Kretz, Controller Ron Galperin, and all the local elected officials, we're so glad one of our own is going to Washington. Congratulations.
Let's hear it from Mayor Garcetti. But surely, Mayor Garcetti, surely you're not finished.
No, I am finished, but stop calling me Shirley. Thank you.
So, for those of you who don't know, his favorite movie is Airplane, right? So he just had a showing of it on Friday in downtown LA. So I have to explain it? Not, okay, all right. So, now it's a privilege to introduce the next performance. If you've ever been in a choir, you know that joining your voice with others creates a power and a strength that can be transformative. The New Directions Veterans Choir is made up primarily of former homeless veterans who found their way back to life through the program. They've toured nationally, and they've performed on America's Got Talent. And Congressman Lieu has demonstrated that he cares deeply about veterans' issues, since he is he is Lieutenant Colonel in the Air Force Reserves after all. So Lieutenant Colonel Lieu, for you. So he's been such a champion of veterans' issues. I think having his choir here today is a perfect symbol of that commitment. Today they're going to be singing the military medley. So I want to ask that you, if you are a veteran or if you're currently serving, please stand up when you hear your service branch's song. So I would like to welcome to the stage the New Directions Veterans Choir. Thank you.
First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might, and the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the army goes rolling along. Then it's high, high, hey, the army's on its way. Shout out your cadence loud and strong, for wherever you go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along. Anchors away, my boys, anchors away. Farewell to college joys, we sail here for you. 2, 3, 4. Off we go into the wild blue yonder, climbing high in the sun. Here they come through the neon thunder, attaboys, give 'em the gun. Down we dive, spotting our flames from under, off with one hell of a road. We live in flame and go down in flame. Nothing is up to you as Air Force. From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we will fight our country's battles in the air, on land and sea. First to fight for right and freedom, and to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim the title of United States Marines.
So I have written in my script goosebumps, but I actually have goosebumps. Wow, that was really moving. Thank you. Thank you to all our veterans, those of you who are able to join us today, and to all who serve and sacrifice so much for our freedoms. Thank you. Let's have another round of applause. Now we bring to the stage a longtime leader and friend to our community, Congresswoman Maxine Waters. Listen to that. Listen to that. Congresswoman Waters has held office in our state since 1976, when she was first elected as a state assembly member. She has chaired the Congressional Black Caucus and served as Chief Deputy Whip of the White House. In 2012, she was elected ranking member of the House Financial Services Committee, becoming the first woman and the first African American from either party to hold that powerful position. She is married to Sidney Williams, a former U.S. ambassador to the Commonwealth of Bahamas, and please welcome the incredible Congresswoman Maxine Waters.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today is a very special day in the life and career of the Honorable Congressman Ted Lieu. And I am pleased and honored to have been invited to share this very special moment with Ted Lieu, his family, colleagues, friends, and supporters. Ladies and gentlemen, I was not surprised when Ted was elected president of the freshman class of the 114th Congress. I was not surprised because Ted Lieu has been an outstanding individual with extraordinary accomplishments. Ted Lieu's very successful career is one that indeed leads to presidencies. Today, the freshman class, tomorrow, the United States of America. Ted's tireless work, his dedication, his brilliance, and his willingness to tackle real problems and find real solutions places him head and shoulders above the average politician. When Ted called me to reveal he was going to run for the United States House of Representatives, I did not hesitate. I immediately said, "You have my support and my endorsement." I was indeed mindful of all of his background, where he had received his law degree from Georgetown University, magna cum laude, where he had served on the Torrance City Council, the California State Assembly, the California State Senate, and ladies and gentlemen, looking at this background, Ted Lieu has really paid his dues. And to add to his dedicated public service as a legislator, Ted served in the United States Air Force with all kinds of special honors and recognition. However, I will never forget the work he did as chair of the Senate Banking Committee. I worked with Ted, taking on the powerful Wall Street interests and dealing with the subprime meltdown and the economic crisis that confronted our country. We almost went into a depression, and we certainly had a recession. We worked together to eliminate predatory lending and to support loan modifications for families caught up in home foreclosures. And he has been one of the biggest supporters of the Dodd-Frank regulatory reforms designed to prevent the special interests from ever again endangering fair home ownership. And he's also helped to create new laws for honest banking practices. Ted Lieu is the real deal. Ted Lieu's accomplishments are well documented. Ted Lieu is made of the kind of stuff of real leaders, real doers, real visionaries, and yes, real presidents. Lastly, Ted Lieu has a special place in my husband's heart. My husband was once a young man, and he was linebacker for the Cleveland Browns football team. And Ted Lieu has always been a big supporter of the Browns football team. So ladies and gentlemen, I look forward to working with Ted Lieu. We both share representation for the city of Torrance. Together, we can combine our forces to create jobs, protect the environment, support our veterans, plan for our children's future, take care of our seniors, and support fairness and opportunity for all of our citizens. Congratulations, Ted Lieu. You are a real addition to the Congress of the United States of America. Not only do I look forward to working with you, you are being talked about, not only in the freshman class, but throughout the leadership. They have big things in store for you, Ted Lieu.
Thank you, Congresswoman Waters, for your decades of leadership in California and our nation. And if she says it, it must be true. So, wow, very exciting. And I have to add here, there's been a couple mentions of the Cleveland Browns, which, one of the things that Ted and I share in common is we're both from Ohio. And of course we're diehard Cleveland Browns fans. I mean, that's how you be. That's how you are. You don't, if they're not winning, what do you mean? So come on, people. Go Browns. Go Dog Pound. I like their old logo. I don't care. All right. Calm down, Amy. I will try to be solemn and serious. Okay. At this time, we're honored to welcome Congressman Javier Becerra. First elected to Congress in 1992, he serves as the chair of the House Democratic Caucus. He's a member of the powerful Committee on Ways and Means. And I want you all to know that he thinks so much of Ted, and so much, he wanted so much to be here today that he actually just flew in this morning for this and will fly back this afternoon. And I really, let's give a hand to that effort, because that's really saying a lot. And thank you for being here to celebrate with your new colleague, Congressman Lieu.
Amy, thank you very much, and it's a great honor to be with all of you. Ted, to you and to your beautiful family, Betty, Brennan, and Austin, a big thank you for inviting me to partake in this special day for you. Like my respected colleagues, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, Congresswoman Karen Bass, Congresswoman Janice Hahn, and just like all my fellow tributers, I am honored to get a chance to be on this stage with someone who is so respected. Ladies and gentlemen, like you, I love Ted's honesty, his intellect, his devotion to country, his calm, focused determination. How do you know when you have a great leader in your midst? Well, when he can teach you strength and humility even when you don't realize it. That's leadership. Ted has brought us here to this auspicious place, UCLA, to celebrate his inaugural service in Congress. What you haven't realized, even though you've heard it, but you haven't realized, even after some recent and deeply bitter and contentious battles, is the courage and confidence of this man, a Stanford man, magnanimously celebrating the swearing ceremony for Congress here at UCLA. It takes a big man to do that. Right, Chancellor Block? Don't worry, Ted, I got your back. But we Stanford guys, we got each other's back. Service to country is a sacrifice. Ted does it willingly. At any moment, he knows he may have to be called upon to put everything aside and to put everything on the line, not in Washington as Representative Lieu, but in uniform as Lieutenant Colonel Lieu in the Air Force Reserves, in whatever way and whatever part of the globe our nation needs him. In Congress, Rep. Lieu has hit the ground running. You heard, he's been elected freshman class president by his peers. He helped bring Veterans Secretary Robert McDonald to Los Angeles to meet with our veterans. And he has spoken eloquently and influenced our debates, both in caucus and on the floor of the House of Representatives. Like you, I know that Representative Waters, Bass, Hahn, and I know how hard Ted works to fight all the time and how hard he worked to get here. He and his family, and I know so many of you who are in this hall, put every fiber of your being into this battle for Ted. Ted, there's no other way to put it. You earned your place in Congress 1995, 1999, 2004, 2005. There's a lot of things that have gone on. But 2015, January of 2015, you got sworn in to be a member of Congress because you earned it. I must admit, though, Ted, I see a bit more gray hair in those sideburns today than I saw during last year's election. You see the gray on the left sideburn there? That's from our fight to keep our men and women of Homeland Security fully equipped and funded as we fight against the shutdown. See the gray coming out on the right sideburn? That's from the fight to stop those assaults on the Affordable Care Act, a tax which would leave 19 million Americans and millions here in California in health care limbo if they were to succeed. How about that gray creeping up the sides of his temple? That gray's special. That's from applying all his background, his experience, and his immense training to make, on your behalf, the right decision on the upcoming authorization for the use of military force against ISIS. I know right now you're thinking, why isn't he all gray by now? Well, let me tell you the gray that I detect most in Ted Lieu. It's that gray that doesn't pick its spots. It just emerges anywhere and at any time, where it wants. That's the gray that comes from figuring out how to live and work in two places, Washington, D.C., and at home here at the same time. It's the gray that comes out from making it to the kids' games and recitals without missing that district town hall meeting. And it's the gray that comes out from remembering the birthdays and the anniversaries and not forgetting your colleagues when they need you in those tough battles for re-election. Ted, that's the gray of champions. You've earned it. We're lucky to have your strong values and to know you know your priorities. We're lucky that you have a loving and sharing family, that you have smart, engaged constituents, and Congressman Lieu, we are lucky that you will be a great leader for us in Congress. I congratulate you. I thank you, my friend, for your dedicated service to our United States of America, and for a man who has everything, an appropriate congressional gift I bring to you today. Some Grecian formula for your battles ahead. Congratulations, Ted. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Congressman Becerra. That's making me laugh. Now it's my pleasure to call back to the stage from the New Directions Choir, Danny Tucker, Bobby Hanna, Michelle Main Graves, Holly Petrago, George Hill, John Hill, and Carlton Griffin, to the stage so that they can sing their rendition of America the Beautiful.
Oh, beautiful, for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains' majesty, above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea. And crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea. And crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea. And crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea.
Thank you. New Directions. Many of these members have traveled very far to join us, so give them one more round of applause for their service, for their gifts. Okay, so now I'm going to announce the other elected officials and dignitaries who are here. You guys thought I forgot, right? That's how we are. Okay, from the education community, Los Angeles Community Choir District Chancellor, Dr. Francisco Rodriguez, Los Angeles Community College District Board Member, Mike Eng, Marymount, California University President, Dr. Michael Brophy, University of California, Irvine, Vice Provost Judith Stepan Norris, Santa Monica College Trustee, Nancy Greenstein, Beverly Hills United School District Board Member, Lisa Korbatoff, Redondo Beach Unified School District Board of Education Presiding Officer, that's a mouthful, Anita Averick. And from the Redondo Beach School Board, Vice President Michael Christensen, Santa Monica Malibu Unified School District Board Member, Maria Leon Vasquez, Torrance Unified School Board Member, Terry Reagans, Hacienda La Puente Unified School District Board Member, Jay Chen. We have West Basin Municipal Water Board Director, Scott Houston, newly elected. West Basin Municipal Water Board Director, Harold Williams. San Gabriel Valley Municipal Water District Director, Thomas Wong. We have Palos Verdes Library District Trustee, Kay Gio. We have Redondo Beach Unified School Board Member, Brad Sirkin. Former Redondo Beach Mayor, Mike Ginn. Los Angeles Community College Board Trustee, Nancy Perlman. And Hermosa Beach Council Member, Michael DiVirgilio. And one more, former County Supervisor, Zev Yaroslavsky. Big round of applause. I think Mayor Garcetti said it very well when he said we local electeds are so grateful to have one of our own in Washington. This is a testament to that. So the next speaker I knew when she worked with Congressman Lieu in a state assembly. But she led the way by getting elected to Congress first, by the way. Congressmember Karen Bass, was reelected to her third term last November. She serves on the House Judiciary Committee and the House Committee for Foreign Affairs, and she is a ranking member of the Subcommittee on Africa. She was selected by Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi to serve on the prestigious Steering and Policy Committee, and she also plays a leadership role in the Congressional Black Caucus. Prior to serving in Congress, Representative Bass made history as the first African-American woman to serve as a Speaker of the California State Assembly. Let's welcome Congressmember Bass to the stage.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my pleasure to be here today and join in with everyone in celebrating the election and swearing in and now the new class president, Ted Lieu. I am very happy to have the opportunity to work once again with Ted. We first worked together 9 years ago when Ted was elected to the Assembly, and what I always admired about him is he is a man of principles, creating, supporting, or opposing legislation based on a set of values rooted in expanding democracy and furthering justice. I was honored that Ted was willing to serve on the organizing committee that helped secure the votes I needed to become the Speaker. A small group of us got together and decided that we would go out amongst our 80 colleagues and we would try to get the votes for me to become Speaker, and once that happened, Ted joined me as part of my leadership team. And we worked through some very tough times. I mention this because that's when you see someone's true character. All of us had to make very painful decisions and cut programs like education and healthcare, the very programs we ran to protect and expand. But doing what is easy is not what leadership is about. Being willing to make the tough decisions during tough times. Ted authored many landmark bills, including the subprime mortgage reform, which has been talked about a lot this afternoon. And Ted was at the forefront of that before it became the national crisis. And banning indoor UV tanning salons for minors under 18. I remember when you did that, Ted. That was very controversial. But people hadn't really realized that that was a problem. And I think that that characterizes your leadership because you have the ability to identify and focus on issues that people might not be aware as to their significance. But after you did that legislation, that was replicated throughout the country in many different states. Ted has never been shy or afraid of taking on powerful forces. He doesn't always win, but that doesn't stop Ted from doing what is right. He's able to do this because he knows how to bring people together, to build coalitions, and to stand strong in the face of opposition. In Congress, I'm happy to say that Ted has joined the Congressional Caucus on Foster Youth, which is an issue that we work together on in Sacramento, and I'm glad that we'll be working together on that in Washington, D.C. And taking on tough issues like the situation with our veterans, like the Veterans Hospital and the campus that's there in Westwood, that has been a source of controversy for many, many years. And I know with your leadership that we will be able to make a significant difference on these issues. I'm excited. I'm excited to work with you again, Ted, and I know that the residents of the 33rd District are proud to have you as our representative. I'm happy to call you a colleague, but I'm most happy to call you my friend. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Congresswoman. It really is an honor to have all these elected officials join us here, and I think it's a real testament to the relationships that our congressman has built up over the years. And by the way, I just got confirmation that he is tweeting from this ceremony. And Congressman, yeah, you can do that when I'm speaking, but when the other congressmen, you should pay attention to what they're saying really great things about you, okay? So, and that's one of the things I love about him. But they, they have built these relationships with him, and the word integrity keeps coming up, and it really is true. And all of these people almost had to stay back in Washington. You heard Congressman Becerra talk about keeping the Department of Homeland Security open. And when describing that situation, Congressman Lieu's blog referenced that great political drama, Game of Thrones, simply by saying, winter is coming. Hashtag, my congressman watches Game of Thrones. It's awesome. All right, this next performance is really cool. Eric Sue is a singer-songwriter of LA-based alternative rock band Johnny Hi-Fi. The band has been on MTV, CBS News, it's been in Billboard magazine, the New York Times. They've toured China, Japan, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Canada. They've released 10 CDs since their inception in 2001. Today, Eric will be singing God Bless the USA. Please welcome lead singer for Johnny Hi-Fi, Eric Sue.
If tomorrow all the things are gone I worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife, I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom and they can't take that away. I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, from New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart. So it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. Sing with me if you can't. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
That was really wonderful. Thank you so much, Eric. That song actually gets me too. Are you kidding me? So I was told that somebody did pull the fire alarm, which is not okay, except that then I heard that Ted wasn't finished with his speech. So, and I have this too, just in case. I'm ready. All right. Yeah, I'm just making sure everybody's in place. All right. So, and now, truly, I also just want to point out, before that fire alarm was pulled, this thing was on time. Not my hashtag, not my fault. All right, and now, for the moment we've all been waiting for, and surely our congressman as well, the oath of office. The oath will be administered by the Honorable Jacqueline Wen. Judge Wen is a circuit judge for the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit. The judge is the first and currently only Asian American woman on the Federal Court of Appeals. Please welcome Judge Wen to the stage, and Congressman Lieu, if you and your family could come to the stage as well. Thank you.
Now, before I administer the oath, I'd like to say a couple of words to Congressman Ted Lieu and his lovely family. It's a great pleasure for me to be here today to join in this wonderful community celebration and swearing-in ceremony of Congressman Ted Lieu. Now, in the 20-plus years, see, I've dated us. In the 20-plus years that I've known Betty and Ted, I have witnessed with much pleasure and pride as Ted essentially lives out the quintessential American dream, rising from immigrant to now a seat in the United States House of Representatives. When Ted and I first met, we were both young and hungry, enthusiastic lawyers, and Ted, at that time, if I recall correctly, was an associate at a very prestigious Los Angeles law firm. And I just was absolutely certain that Ted would go on to have a brilliant legal career because he had everything that it took. He has a lot of charm, obviously. He has sterling credentials, a keen intellect, and an incredible work ethic. But beyond all of that, he had what Mayor Garcetti aptly termed a secret weapon, and that's his wonderful spouse, Betty. But to my delight, Ted chose to forego that lucrative private practice career and instead to devote himself to public service. And I'm so grateful for that because I know that the people of your district, of the state of California, and of the nation will benefit tremendously from your leadership. And so it is my honor and privilege today to administer the oath of office. If you can please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear.
I do solemnly swear.
That I will support and defend.
That I will support and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
And that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
And that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
That I take this obligation freely.
That I take this obligation freely.
Without any mental reservation.
Without any mental reservation.
Or purpose of evasion.
Or purpose of evasion.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge.
The duties of the office.
The duties of the office.
On which I am about to enter.
On which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
guys going to just wait up here for a minute? Thank you, Judge Wynn, for your kind words and for swearing me in. I'm actually going to keep my family up here for a little bit. Before I give my formal remarks, I'm going to introduce my family. And I am thrilled to see so many of you still here. You know, I told my staff, I think this program needs an intermission somewhere, and I'm glad that that happened. And I know most of you came to see Tim Robbins, but that's okay. And I have here my family. I have Austin, who is 9. He loves soccer and plays way too much of the video game Minecraft. We have my older son, Brennan. He is 11. He just got a green belt in Kung Fu, so don't mess with him. Our two children were baptized last year. I know our godparents are here, David and Kathy and their families, so thank you for guiding our children. I also want to thank my parents, George and Carrie, and my brother, Johnny, for all your love and support over the years, as well as to my in-laws, Alex and Susan, and my brother-in-law, David, for their love and support as well. And now to my wife, Betty. As many of you know, she is a former Deputy Attorney General, and she serves on many boards. She is also the love of my life. We've been married 13 and a half years. I've loved her for 17 and a half, but it took her 4 years to figure that out. She is the inspiration of my life, and I have a little surprise for her. Today's ceremony would not be possible without the help of so many people, including UCLA and Chancellor Block and all of the UCLA crew and staff. Thank you for hosting this amazing event. And I've been told that it is a record to get people in and out after a fire alarm in just 12 minutes. So thank you for that. Special thanks to all the amazing performances and speakers today. And I know some of my colleagues are in the audience as well. Congressman Mark Takano, Supervisor Janice Hahn. Oops, I meant to say Congresswoman Janice Hahn. I also want to thank my amazing staff, especially Janet and Melissa, who worked so hard to put this together. And my staff from Los Angeles who are here today include Lisa, Irving, Joey, Ashley, Dakota, and David. And from Washington, D.C., we have Mark, Andrew, Jack, Aurora, Megan, Carolyn, and Julian. They will all be at the reception afterwards, and hope you get to meet them. And then let's give a special thanks to amazing Mistress of Ceremonies, Amy Holworth, for her fantastic job. So I'm going to touch on 3 topics. The first is how do we continue to grow our economy? The second is my view of the mission of this office. And then the third is the one thing that keeps me up at night. And let me start by thanking all of you for believing in me and my story. It is the same story as many of you, same story that many of your parents have, or your grandparents, or your great-grandparents. It is the story of Americans from generations past and generations yet to come. It's a story of immigrants. And my parents came here to make a better life for themselves and their children. They were poor, they did not speak English well, and they would go to flea markets and sell gifts to make ends meet. They worked hard, saved some money, opened one gift store and a shopping center. They then continued to work hard 7 days a week, opened one store in a shopping mall. My brother and I would help watch that store. We basically grew up manning cash registers and selling gifts and moving lots of boxes of inventory. And eventually, my parents expanded to 6 stores. And so they achieved the American dream. They went from being poor to a home, gave my brother and I an amazing education. And that's one reason I joined the U.S. Air Force on active duty. I believe I can never give back to America everything this amazing country has given to my family. It's one reason I choose to remain in the reserves. And it is one reason I still remain in the reserves at Los Angeles Air Force Base. And the reason I'm here today is because my parents had two qualities that many immigrants have. They were risk takers by virtue of having come to a new country, and they worked hard. And that's why we need comprehensive immigration reform. Not only is it the humane thing to do, it will jumpstart our economy. It is time for America to unleash the full potential of all the people who live in this great country. And by lifting millions of people out of the shadows, by eliminating the underground economy, and by giving companies the labor force they need to fill their open positions, that's how we increase our GDP, and that's how we increase our economy. And I am confident that Congress will one day pass comprehensive immigration reform, because the one thing that no one can change is that every year the rest of America looks more like California. Now, there's another way to boost our economy, and that's by increasing the purchasing power of the middle class. And by increasing their paychecks, we increase the consumer demand, and that fuels our economy. And there's been this narrative for quite some time that somehow the only job creators in America are the top 1%. And that's just not true, because on any basic law of supply and demand, you have both producers and consumers, so you need both. And just think about the last recession. It wasn't that because we didn't have enough interesting cars to buy or enough interesting cell phones to purchase that somehow we went into recession. We went into recession because the middle class couldn't buy anything. And that's why I support President Obama's focus on the middle class economics by increasing paychecks in the middle class. His plan will give tax breaks to working families who have children. It will increase the dependent care and child care tax credit. And also for families where both spouses work, it will also give an additional tax credit. And by increasing that purchasing power, that's how we increase our GDP. And when the middle class succeeds, America succeeds. And so one last point on the economy. There is one thing the federal government can do that no private sector company can, and that is invest in basic research for years and years with no expectation of any rate of return. And largely, our biotech industry in America started because the National Institutes of Health kept putting money into recombinant DNA technology for years. And then eventually, some breakthroughs started happening, and then it got to a critical point where the private sector could take those breakthroughs and run with it. The Global Positioning System, GPS, was started right here in this amazing district at Los Angeles Air Force Base, working with the Aerospace Corporation, a federal nonprofit, because of years of federal funding that eventually got GPS and got those launched into space. Largely, the internet started at the very beginning because the federal government kept pumping money into networks. And it is my commitment as a member of the House of Representatives Budget Committee that I will do everything I can to increase basic research across all our scientific disciplines so that world-class institutions like UCLA can continue making the discoveries for the future. By the way, I see former Councilman Bill Rosendahl here. I just want to give a shout out to him. He is an amazing elected official. So now I want to give you my view of the mission of this office. And certainly working on national issues such as the American economy is a critical part of this job. But it's also clear to me that in our democratic system, there are too many voices that are not included. And there has just been a flood of money into our system that has skewed our democratic process. And let me just ask you these questions. How many homeless individuals do you know that can hire a lobbyist? And how many super PACs exist to champion the needs of foster children? And how many of those who live below the poverty line have the wherewithal to visit an elected official's office to tell you about their concerns? So I'm going to do three things. The first is I'm going to work to pass a constitutional amendment to reverse the Supreme Court's misguided decision. For the 1% who don't know what that decision is, it is Citizens United, which unleashed a torrent of money into our system. Second, I'm going to continue to champion the voices of those who don't have capacity to speak for themselves in our political system. And Tim, I'm still waiting for that first donation from the prisoner. And third, my office is going to continue to give outstanding constituent service to anyone who calls or walks through our doors. And I am particularly pleased that we're already making progress for homeless veterans at the West LA VA campus. One of the first things I did last year was to steal from the Veterans Administration my chief of staff, Mark Savasco, who was a political appointee there, as well as hire my district director, Lisa Pinto, who's had enormous amounts of experience dealing with those issues. In January, I talked to VA Secretary Bob McDonald and his leadership team and urged them to resolve issues here. And because of his bold leadership in settling the lawsuit brought by the plaintiffs, and thank you plaintiffs for doing that, it has now been a game changer. And we're going to make sure that this campus does something novel, which is actually use veterans' land to help veterans. So now, before I tell you about what keeps me up at night, I do want to honor the legacy of my predecessor, Henry Waxman. For 40 years, the issues he's championed, the laws he's passed, has helped virtually every American. And I am so honored that Betty and I can call Henry and Janet our friends. It actually makes me much more relaxed that he had such a long career in politics. When people ask me how things are going, I tell them, just check back with me in 20 years. Now, let me tell you what keeps me up at night. There are 1,000 issues Congress deals with. Only one of them can kill us as a species, and that's climate change. So in California, I was a co-author of AB 32, the landmark Global Warming Solutions Act. But it's clear that to solve climate change, you need America to do what California has done, and then the rest of the world to do what California has done, and that's how we solve it. That's one of the main reasons I ran for Congress, and that's why this month, my first bill in Congress I will introduce will be an updated version of Congressman Waxman's Climate Safe Act. And I'm confident that Congress will pass climate change legislation one day because we've got the one thing that the other side doesn't have, facts. And in a democracy, eventually those who have facts will prevail. So now let me conclude by thanking so many of you for taking the journey with my family and me. Many of you helped us get to this point, and now we're at a new beginning. And this is an unbelievable place to represent. This is a phenomenal and incredible congressional district, and I look forward to walking and running with all of you as we take this new journey. And I look forward to representing this incredible district in Congress and working with you to make America an even better place and a more perfect union. Thank you so much. So there's a reception afterwards because some people had left. There should be enough food for all of you. Thank you.
Wow. Just a couple more little things to do. Before we close, I want to welcome Father Richard Sun Wu from the Santa Monica Catholic Church to offer the benediction. Father, where is he? You're down there? Here he comes. And then I just have some housekeeping at the end, so.
Thank you very much, Congressman Lieu. Only you would have the courage to invite a Roman Catholic priest who happens to also look like the premier of North Korea to give the final benediction. So without further ado, my friends, let us pray. Loving God, we give you thanks for the gift of life, for loving each of us into being. As we meditate on all the blessings of life, we especially pray for the blessing of peace, both in our lives and in our world. Our fervent prayer, O God, is that people be open to learn to live together in sincere reconciliation and respect, so that the terrors of and against humanity will be no more. May your special blessing be upon Congressman Ted Lieu, his family, and members of this great assembly in the important but often difficult work that they do. Give them wisdom, clarity, and charity, that they might work together for the common good when issues on so many fronts present seemingly impossible roads to authentic cooperation. May all of our works, both humble and great, be for your greater honor and glory. Amen.
Okay, thank you very much. So, Congressman Lieu, on behalf of all of us, I think, I say thank you. Thank you for being willing to fly to D.C. every week and leave that beautiful family back here. And thank you for being willing to do the very hard, messy work of democracy. And thanks for sharing today with all of us. And in the immortal spirit of Leonard Nimoy, whom I know you admire, live long and prosper, friend. The reception is going to be right behind you, out those doors. Thank you for being here, for sharing.